Peter, thank you for speaking with me today.
Sure.
Okay, I told you I'm looking for war stories. What is the most frustrating situation that you dealt with this last year?
The biggest challenge I faced this year is the fact that for the television upfront, it still seems to be divorced from the digital advertising ecosystem. In my opinion, they should be much more closely aligned, because one of the big trends I see moving forward is this notion of social TV. And social TV is the marriage of old school television combined with tablets and mobile phones, but also the proliferation and the total penetration of social media. That's why I'm frustrated with why the upfront is still kind of siloed, and it should be more together because of the coming trend I see.
What are you doing right now? What are your top two projects to actually engage your consumers and give them more functionality?
I think leaning into mobile and tablet, or collectively what we call smart screens, is the best thing you can be doing, because not only is the penetration of those devices increasing, so is the speed. So the faster and easier they are to consume web-based content, mobile-based content, the faster they'll be adopted. So we're really leaning into that.
What's coming up on NBC.com, and how are you going to be delivering content to consumers any differently over the next couple of years?
What you'll see is more of what we started in the spring with The Voice. And The Voice is NBC's smash hit on Tuesdays at 10. And The Voice was a show that completely capitalized on other platforms. In other words, when you're watching the show, on the lower right-hand corner where you're used to seeing the peacock, you see a hashtag. All the judges, all the contestants have huge Twitter followings. We have a on-screen, during the show, social correspondent who really helps the audience understand that there's so many conversations happening in other places. I mean, that's what I think is so interesting about what we're doing with television, is we're giving the viewers the opportunity to know that there's conversations happening about these programs right now while you're watching. And since you already are sitting there with one or two devices at your side, open it up and join the conversation of the show you're watching right now. So what's so interesting about that for programmers and broadcasters is that it actually acts as a DVR mitigator. One of the biggest challenges for marketers is that gross rating points are often time shifted because of DVR technology, and social media mitigates that because it's making real-time viewing really valuable, because you're finding other fans to engage in the content.
Well, I was just going to ask, what's the biggest benefit? Because obviously it's very cool, but it sounds like that participatory element is very important.
Right, and whenever someone is socially engaged in a show and they're making any kind of social gesture, whether it's a tweet, a like, a share, posting to a wall, whatever you want it to be, any social gesture is important because that reaches everyone's sphere of influence in the social sphere. So if you have 100 people tweeting and they each have 100 friends, all of a sudden their reach is going dramatically beyond just those 100 people. The primary benefit is that you're actually recruiting and engaging more viewers through your already engaged viewership. So your audiences become your advocates.
How did you guys figure this out? Did you look at the numbers and think, well, we think they'll participate in this, or did you roll it out small and then it kind of increased? What's the backstory?
It's a series of course corrections. We have a lot of different sites, from Oxygen and Bravo to Sunday Night Football, NBC Primetime. Each show has its own different destination, and all the site leaders in their various ways are experimenting with either a Twitter platform integration or a GetGlued check-in paradigm, a Shazam audio recognition. There's so many experiments happening all the time, and it's just a series of sharing stories and just course correcting and learning and jettisoning what doesn't work and doubling down on what does.
Very last question. Look ahead with me about 2 years. What is the television experience going to be like for the consumer? And it's even weird to call it a television experience at this point because there's so many different devices we consume it on. But what is this digital content experience going to be like?
Well, television as we used to know it, just everybody watching a very passive lean-back experience, is going to continue to get more lean forward, more socially activated. So I think in 2 years, again, when you combine the rise of hardware with the rise of social networking and the idea that all these screens will enhance your watching experience, in 2 years this will just be common. And TV, as we know it today, won't exist, and that will be television. Social TV, won't call it social TV, it'll just be TV, and TV will always be a social experience.
And so if I see an actress on camera and I like what she's wearing, I can probably click and order her skirt, and then I can pull up her IMDb rating and see what she's doing?
And they've always talked about being able to, going back to Friends, they always used to talk about being able to buy Jennifer Aniston's sweater, and that still hasn't really happened. It could. I think it's more about the conversation and the engagement. It's real-time feedback loops with other people. It's voting, it's polling, it's tweeting, it's sharing, it's finding like-minded people to talk about programs, news events, or sports teams that they love, and it just is easier and easier. And if you want to buy someone's sweater, that's probably possible too.
Peter, thank you very much.
Thank you.